Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a special guest, Tor Bair, the founder of the Secret Foundation. So we're going to be talking about the Secret Network, what it is, why you should care about it. We'll talk about privacy, and then the world of secret DeFi. So make sure you stick around. So Tor, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
For sure. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. So I guess the first thing I wanted to do for anyone who maybe is not familiar with you, could you give a little bit of your background and what led you to sort of create the Secret Foundation?
Yeah, absolutely. So my background is, we'll go way back, right? When I was in college, probably over a decade ago now, I was studying game theory.
Mhm.
And game theory to me was like just the study of incentives. It was fascinating. But there wasn't really an industry that relied on game theory. That didn't
Yeah.
exist yet. You fast forward a decade or so, and now cryptocurrency, blockchains, like this open source ecosystem really is just this entire industry powered by on-chain and off-chain incentives and how they're structured and what are the mechanisms. So as soon as it became an opportunity to go full-time in the crypto space, I jumped at the opportunity. But it wasn't until 2017 that I was really able to go full-time. It was a winding road. I was an options trader. I was a data scientist. And then I found myself at MIT between 2014 and 2016, right as they were picking up a lot of their blockchain stuff, right as they were incubating some of the Bitcoin core devs. They had
Mhm.
the digital currency initiative. So I got really interested in blockchain then, and I met a couple of other people there. Guy Ziskind, who was he was a researcher at the Media Lab, and John Kisagun, who was one of my classmates in the business program. They are the co-founders of Enigma, and Enigma is one of the core developer teams that's contributing to Secret Network. I went and founded Secret Foundation to be another entity in that ecosystem. We concentrate mostly on community development, ecosystem growth, producing educational materials, stewarding governance, things like that. And the ecosystem has grown quite a lot since we started working on things probably around like 5 years ago now. But Secret Network itself has finally been on mainnet for over a year, and it's been really exciting to see the growth not only of the network itself but the community behind it.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I remember being in a meeting with someone, maybe it had to be a few years ago, talking about Enigma and the idea of secret, or sort of private execution environments for smart contracts for a specific
Mm-hmm.
use case. And that's kind of where I started following the what ended up being, the Secret Network. So it's really exciting stuff. And with that, I would love for you to give sort of the elevator pitch or the high level overview of what the Secret Network is and what features it offers that people should care about.
Yeah. So what got me super excited about that vision of privacy for blockchain is that in many ways, especially if you look back to the ICO boom of 2017, a lot of things were solutions looking for problems.
Hmm.
And I loved the idea of blockchain, but I didn't want to work on something that was a solution looking for a problem. I wanted to be solving real problems in the blockchain space, whether or not people knew they were problems yet. So in 2017, it wasn't really publicly acknowledged that every public blockchain had this privacy problem.
Hmm.
So if you're newer to the space, right, and you're listening to this, you probably maybe have used Ethereum or you've used Bitcoin, you've sent money around, and you think this is somewhat private because it's pseudonymous. Nobody can say that your account is necessarily connected with you, the person.
Hmm.
But if you look into the blockchain and how all of these blockchains work, everything you've ever done on the chain is public to everyone. Every data that you're sending to the chain is public to everyone else. And in that perspective, blockchains are a worse privacy solution than anything that's ever come before it. In fact, they're a
Yeah.
privacy nightmare. So when you see central banks and these sorts of large organizations talking about using blockchain to democratize finance and things like that, what that really is them saying, we're going to use this technology to perpetuate surveillance capitalism. And ultimately, that's not the problem blockchains are supposed to solve. That's actually like, that's kind of the end
Counter.
state where we're supposed to be avoiding that end state. So what Secret Network is, it's the first blockchain to go beyond the vision of like just privacy for transactions, which is an interesting vision, but it's kind of narrow. And most people have very negative connotations with that
Hmm.
because that's just saying, I want to hide my money from somebody else. Secret
Hmm.
Network is something different. That's saying, I want the data that I'm using when I interact with a blockchain to be encrypted so that somebody else can't take that data and misuse it. Like it allows users to ultimately retain control and consent over their data, even in a decentralized, open source, public blockchain world. And that's what we call programmable privacy or computational privacy. It's privacy for smart contracts that allow them to use encrypted inputs, encrypted outputs, and encrypted state. And with that, the design space suddenly for blockchain, smart contracts, and decentralized applications goes from being like very narrow because everything needs to be public to suddenly very large with this privacy by default model that we're trying to bring with Secret Network.
Yeah, and if there's one thing that you said that I thought was really interesting. It's that there are a lot of blockchains that were solutions looking for problems, and I think that in that and in the even where we are today, where there are a lot of different protocols, and I think generally that's a really good thing, right? Because competition generally means that there's a lot of people trying to solve problems that will eventually come up with good solutions, by that competition. But at the same time, I think it has diluted the overall focus on the real problems we're trying to solve, which is really, giving people more control over the systems that they use to transact data and value. And, just generally, if you look at it broadly, creating decentralized tech that everyone can use, right? And that's gotten lost over the years. And so how, with Secret Network, are you seeing, adoption? Is there, or I guess, what's the status update? How are things looking now on mainnet?
Yeah, that's the great question, right? Like that's the right way to look at it. It's like I can tell you what I think it's going to be used for, or we can say what people are already using it for and kind of see for ourselves, right? So we've been on mainnet for over a year now, and in that year, the biggest metrics we care about is like end user adoption. How many people are using the network for what we want them to use it for because they lead to sustainable outcomes for the chain, right? Mm-hmm. If the problem that your network is solving is like your users aren't making enough money somewhere else, like that's a very competitive market right now. Like, and people will offer insane yields on all kinds of insane things, but there's, the possibility to always to just lose all of your money instantly when somebody pulls all of their liquidity from some platform or another. Like sustainability is a big core of our value. And we think that privacy is intricately linked with sustainability as much as it's linked with things like consent and freedom and all of these other core values. So we care about things like delegators, how many unique people are delegating in our network. So we've got, I think, over 8,000 individual delegators now. We've got something like 16,000 addresses that are active. This isn't including any of the activity on like centralized exchanges, which is much harder to measure and doesn't necessarily contribute back to like what is core usage of the chain. But what's really exciting is seeing now the first applications go live for the network. So we launched this private secret contract functionality in September of last. So it's been about, 7 or 8 months. Time flies. And now we're seeing these really interesting applications go live. So the first applications to go live on the network were secret tokens, which are just like ERC20s on Ethereum, except that on Secret Network, they're privacy preserving by default. And if you can imagine like having every ERC20 on Ethereum, except that on Secret Network, people can't follow you around the network all of the time as you're just like trying to use your same address for everything. Like if you want to own NFTs and be a trader and use a social app, like all of these things get linked back to you so quickly in ways that are like really dangerous for your security. So with secret tokens, what that means is basically any token deployed on Secret Network, whether it's fungible, non-fungible, non-transferable, all have these privacy preserving properties that help protect users. So those were the first applications going live, were effectively the tokens themselves as apps. Now we've got a bunch of different tokens deployed on the network. Some of them represent wrapped Ethereum assets. We have a bridge to Ethereum where now people can take their ETH, their USDT, their Link, their Aave, what have you, turn it into privacy preserving versions of those tokens on Secret Network, and they can send them around the network. And then as of last month, they can also now we launched our first AMM for Secret Network. So you can also use our decentralized exchanges, trade one secret token for any other secret token. That I think was the big pivotal moment for us really recently, was unlocking liquidity on Secret Network. So we went from network is live, secret contracts are live, secret tokens are live, liquidity for secret tokens are live. And now we've got over $100 million of Ethereum assets currently represented as secret tokens in the network, and tens of million in liquidity in the secret swap AMM pools, with a bunch more bridges going live, new products going live. All secret DeFi apps are composable. So I'm happy to say that things are where we were hoping they would get to, but things can always be bigger, grow more. And the nice thing about the way we've done it is every additional user, every additional app contributes to the anonymity set for the network, contributes to the liquidity network effect for the network. So every additional user is going to make life better for every other user already on the network.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. I mean, if you think about the similarities between all the other blockchain networks that there are out there right now, it is a transparent layer. And if you make a mistake, and maybe some people don't care, right? But if you make a mistake and
Sure.
you link your identity to an address, or maybe to multiple addresses with like an xpub or something, you have then kind of a predicament, because now even if you move your assets from that address to a new one, that there's a record, right? It's easy to
Yep.
find where you move to. And so a network like this, I think, gives people the ability to close the blinds. And I talk
Right.
about privacy, and I think you and I probably will see eye to eye about this. I think privacy is very easy to be twisted into this malevolent, very negatively connotated thing, when in
Mm-hmm.
reality, it's analogous to going inside your house, closing and locking your door, and closing your blinds. There's
Yep.
nothing wrong with doing that. It doesn't mean that
Right.
you're inside committing a crime, right? You just
Right.
want to have privacy. And I think that's what the secret network provides, no?
Yeah, and it seems so interesting to me that this net, like everything in blockchain relies on the idea of privacy. That's all
Yeah.
public-private key cryptography really is the idea that a single person holding the private key should have access to say, like, this is what should be done with the coins in this account. And yet somehow privacy does indeed get twisted into this issue where it's like, well, now it's bad because we can't understand it and we can't control it, right? So we have to either be comfortable with a world where we're really saying we're empowering users all over the world and privacy is inherent to that, or we have to say all we've done is perfect a surveillance state and we're also okay with that outcome because a few people got rich along the way. And I really, really hope that we haven't pushed things to the point where people are okay accepting the latter because like they personally are going to be better off within that system. But it's certainly not why we were pursuing building these types of alternative systems in the first place. It was to empower end users, not to climb up the ladder ourselves.
And I think it's interesting, actually, that point. You started to maybe talk about it a little bit when you started to talk about assets and liquidity. One of the
Mm-hmm.
places where this privacy debate is starting to spin up again is in DeFi, right? It's in the fact
Right.
that we have these DeFi services that are being scrutinized because nice cat, being
Thank you.
scrutinized for their, I guess, the fact that they are not centrally controlled. But then
Mm-hmm.
again, that's the point, right? So where does
Right.
DeFi sit in the secret network, and how maybe does it differ from DeFi in the context of Ethereum?
Yeah, I mean, for us, privacy is, again, privacy is just a means to an end, where the end is empowerment of users. So for us, that manifests in two ways primarily. One is usability. Like we want these applications to be more usable on Secret Network than they are on Ethereum. And the reason by which they're more usable on Secret Network, some of it has to do with, for example, solving the front running problem. So if people are listening who haven't used ETH DeFi, like you may not be as familiar with this issue, but because all of your interactions with the blockchain on Ethereum, and again, like every other public blockchain, because these interactions are all public, the miners effectively, there's this concept of miner extractable value, where miners can front run the people submitting transactions to the chain, extract, I think it's now on the order of billions that miners have now extracted via Ethereum DeFi by being able to see these transactions in advance and take advantage of the people who have submitted them. And these aren't people who are using ETH DeFi. These aren't people who are providing two-sided liquidity and taking the risk of impermanent loss. Like these are just the miners. And with Secret Network, because it's encrypted state and encrypted inputs for the contracts, we mitigate this front running problem pretty substantially. So the value is actually kept by the users and by the LPs for the chain. So that's one big way where like privacy is not like you're saying, like it's privacy to stop other people from seeing what I'm doing. It's like even in the like very moment of interaction with the blockchain, that like very immediate sense of privacy is essential to usability and security. And you can generalize that to any other DeFi application that I would be telling you about, or any other application, period. And somehow, just because privacy is hard, this is the thing, because privacy is hard, it wasn't solved. It's not because this problem wasn't important, it's because it was hard and because it was expensive. So the reason we're excited about what we've done is we think that it is kind of on that efficient frontier of we've made it a lot less expensive, we made it a lot less hard, And as a result, I think we're going to see a lot more people realizing the value of privacy when they couldn't before.
Yeah, and you're so right about that. And I hadn't necessarily thought about the security implications for DeFi specifically as it related to private execution of smart contracts. And it makes a lot of sense because you don't have the ability to go into the mempool and
Right.
see what's about to be approved, especially in the context of something that's maybe longer term, like liquidity pools and provisioning. So yeah, I can definitely see that. In terms of what's available DeFi wise on Secret Network now, what could a user in the broader Cosmos ecosystem or just a user isolated to Secret Network do now DeFi wise?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that we launched recently was Secret Swap. So Secret Swap is the first AMM on Secret Network. You can come be an LP, you can come trade right now. There's around, I think, 20 million in liquidity currently on Secret Swap. Most of it's concentrated on a few pools for now, but we're starting to think about how we can expand liquidity to more of the pools that have been deployed. Secret Swap also has its own native governance token called CeFi, which is bridged across Ethereum and Secret Network, similarly to how like Mirror is bridged across ecosystems, like between the Terra and Ethereum ecosystems. So we have something similar going on with CeFi. It's a fair launch coin. It just launched on March 31st, actually. So very, very recent. So a lot of people are just now getting involved with liquidity mining for CeFi, staking CeFi to participate in governance. So this is the moment where like that DeFi application layer is finally starting to emerge on Secret. Like we built the network, we built the contracts, we built the tokens, all these primitives. And now what we've seen in other ecosystems that have reached this stage is now it's this explosion of experimentation at the application layer. So we now have a number of other applications being built or already deployed. There's a secret auctions platform, which is basically private OTC auctions. You can auction any token for any other token and solicit the bids privately. The bids can be unknown from the other bidders and as well to the seller. So you have these like off-chain dark pools effectively, which is super cool. That's already deployed to mainnet. There's a web app that you can interact with as well. There's a project called Sienna Network, which is fundraising independently to build an AMM as well as lending on top of Secret Network. There's people exploring stable coins. There's people exploring additional bridges. The next bridge you'll see will probably be to Binance Smart Chain, but by popular demand. But there's also a number of other ones in development. So you mentioned Cosmos. So we're looking into integration of IBC so we can easily send messages across and tokens across the Cosmos universe. There's a team that's building a bridge to the Polkadot ecosystem, the Plasm team. So we'll have more about that soon. There's a team building a Monero bridge because why not use private transactions with private smart contracts? There's a team exploring some other secret bridges that I can't disclose. So it's expanding very rapidly. Our goal is just to become a privacy and liquidity hub for the entire public blockchain ecosystem, interoperate with every blockchain, and just sort of expand this capability to every user of every asset in every ecosystem, knowing that like that shared anonymity and privacy set benefits every user equally when they join the ecosystem and as long as they stay.
I love the vision, and it sounds like you're at the center of the singularity right now. Like it's about to be sort of this, explosive diaspora of use cases
I love
for
it. Love
Secret
that
Network.
word. Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah, such a wonderful word. I was gonna say, yeah, diaspora for sure. We're in the eye of the storm in a lot of ways, but
Yeah.
yeah, the other thing we're really exploring is NFTs and access control
Hmm.
are super good use cases for privacy. So keep an eye out for that as well. The same way you want liquidity for fungible tokens, you probably want liquidity for non-fungible tokens, and for scarce and unique assets, privacy is in fact probably even more important because you lose that fungibility. So you
Hmm.
need it. You need your privacy protected in other ways, and we're excited to share some more on that soon as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think when this is fleshed out and we have a narrative, let's have you on the show again and let's talk. It'll be an NFT show, secret NFT show.
Ooh, yeah, that's going to be awesome. And if anybody's listening, you have super awesome ideas for secret DeFi, super secret NFTs. We do have a 50, $60 million grant pool right now for the ecosystem. This would be an amazing time to apply for one of those
Yeah.
because we just gave one for the secret NFT reference implementation, which is how this got completed in the first place. So it's like just non-dilutive grant funding to build things for the secret ecosystem. And like I said, it's not as boring as just being like you're building this on yet another like public EVM chain. Like you can build stuff that is not possible in any other ecosystem on Secret. So we'd love to see how creative people can get and there's a good chance I'll be standing right behind you trying to push it to millions of users, because I love cool and unique stuff for sure.
That's a powerful offer, folks. Leave them in the comments below. If you have questions, leave them in the comments below. Of course, don't, if you have the best idea, don't just dump it in the comments and publicly disclose yet. But yeah, definitely apply. Secret in the honor of the secret network. But jokes aside, I think that what people could take away from this is that there's now this the beginnings of the true internet of blockchains, where purpose-built networks like the secret network are going to be broadly integrated with the chains that people use. And there still might be use cases that maybe you need less guarantee of privacy, right? You want that transparency. You want that public audit record that you can point to. And then for other use cases, you need the privacy and security, and secret network is there. So it's the future, I think, where you're going to have a choice of what sovereign chain that you want to use.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, the only other thing I would say about that is we also have viewing keys on the network. We take this public-private, like, transparency balance thing very seriously. Like, for us, it's not about making everything private all of the time. It is about that element of choice. So if you have a token on the network and you need to prove something about it, you have a viewing key to view it yourself. You can share that viewing key, disclose it selectively, regenerate it to close the blinds back up again. Like, yeah, we don't expect secret network to be where every single transaction everywhere in the blockchain universe actually occurs. But we do expect it to be where some of the most important settlement actually occurs, and for it to be this privacy hub transacting across blockchains. Like, if you're crossing that chasm from one blockchain to another, I hope people value their security as much as we do.
And that is a fantastic mission. And I hope that this was helpful for folks, because I know that the secret network is fantastic and really cool project, but not as many people are asking about it in the comments as I would like. And so I think this is a great opportunity for people to now start to springboard. And that being said, where can people find you or the secret network or documentation about it so they can learn more?
Yeah. Follow on Twitter. It's @Secret Network. If you want to see the website, it's SCRT, which is also the ticker symbol for the native coin. So SCRT.network. And if you go to build.secret.network, SCRT.network again, that's the documentation. All the links are on the website if you want to get out to the Block Explorer and other things. And if you want to become a part of the community, it's chat.scrt.network is our Discord. We got 10,000 plus in there. Come hang out. We have, I think, around 400 or 500 secret agents now, which is the core of the community. You got to always call your community something cool. And in this case, like, this has been a long time in progress. We've been working on this for years. So it is probably the best group of people you'll ever hang out with. And they may not be as active in YouTube comments, but it's because they're really busy building. So if you're a busy person but want to plug into some really awesome projects, come hang out with the secret agents in the secret chat. We'd love to get you onboarded with stuff and get you plugged in.
Awesome, folks. There's your call to action. Please do follow, get engaged, work with the secret network as much as you can. I think the mission is fantastic. The product is fantastic. And Tor, thanks so much for being here, man, and sharing this. And let's do it again soon.
It was my pleasure, man. Thank you so much again.
Awesome. To everyone watching, thank you. And until next time, cheers.